Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Digital Quill podcast with your host, Mars Wilson, where we talk about anything and everything ranging from having guest episodes to solo episodes where I just talk at you and you hopefully comment and respond in real time in the comment sections below. I promise I'll get to doing live streams. The first one is actually scheduled for next week. Probably YouTube. I haven't hashed out those details yet. So today's topics, let's see, I thought I had some, notes around here somewhere. Reading of the Unsealed plus book notes. Reading of the Unsealed plus book notes. What do you think that means? I'll give you 20 seconds in my timer brain. I think that was about 20 to guess. Not last time, but in a prior episode, we were talking about something that is on the Unsealed, and don't worry about that. That was just transcript notes from that episode. I was doing some research before I hopped on to record this today, which I was half tempted to be like, I did yesterday's episode. I said I was going to, but then a little voice in my brain, myself, was like, but you said you were going to do 5. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I did say I was going to do 5 this week. I guess I can't really disappoint myself now, can I? So I have to do another episode. And here we are. I sat around for a little bit trying to figure out what to record about, and I'm like, I did finish the Unsealed project, and I have made headway in the book that I have not talked about in a while, because that is one of the 5 major reasons I started this podcast in the first place, was to talk about the book that I'm writing, and why I'm writing the damn book in the first place. So I hope you're interested already, and I hope you stick around for this episode. Before we get into it, I hope you are having a good day. If you're not, please share with us in the comments below what your day is like so that we can grieve with you or hang out with you and give you support as a community, because not every day is going to be a good day, and sometimes we need to hold space for that. Beyond that, and I ask this genuinely, and I actually want to know, how are you? How are you doing? What are you up to? It's an interesting day to be alive. And that feels callous to say in a way, because there has been a lot of tragedy as of late, and with schools and buses and suicides. It's been an interesting couple months lately. Lot of darkness, and I want to bring today's episode into more of a light setting. So let's hold space for those of us having bad days. I asked that one thing, and then let's try to, be connected on a human-to-human level. The last time, when I was writing or reading out loud, Write a Letter to a Dream That Scares You, which, to recap, the Unsealed is a community that I'm a part of. You do have to have a monthly or yearly paying subscription, which isn't actually that expensive in a way. I think the minimum is $5 a month, but you can add in your own yearly total. I believe I'll let you handle the finances on your own end, but it is a community that has helped me a lot, and I do try to do every single one of these the what are they called, the contests. It's they're letters and poems, and people who are both writers and not writers, we've had athletes and all sorts of different people submit stories and things to this community. It's a heartfelt and warming community, and if you need a place to go and you don't have one yet, and you kind of I recommend it, because for a while I didn't really have a recognizable community in my own brain. I didn't really recognize that I had anything yet, because I didn't when I first started. And I kind of have a little bit of a community here. There are people I see sometimes on Zoom meetings that I've seen in other meetings, and it's a good place if you have nowhere to go. the $5 a month is worth it. I think it's I prioritize my pennies because I am consistently broke. I can barely afford my own bills most of the time, but that is life. It's been that way all of my 20s, even when I was making decent money through overnight security. But point is it is one of the communities that has taught me that love is one of the most powerful things that we could do for ourselves and other people, whether that's self-love or extending that love to someone else that needs it. And I hope today's episode kind of enunciates what I aim to do with my own community and my own time, and my words and my stories, and what I want to do with other people's stories is connect. So to recap, write a letter to a dream that scares you. Sometimes the goals that mean the most are also the ones that intimidate us the most. Write a letter to a dream that feels overwhelming, risky, or even impossible. Share the fear it brings up, the doubt it stirs, and the reasons you still hold on to it. Let your words explore the tension between fear and hope and the courage it takes to chase something that truly matters. The deadline is a day after my birthday, actually. And that was interesting. But I have submitted it, finally. And I want to take a moment before I read it to talk about the superimposed image that I came up with. Because I said this in the last episode, and I'm going to say this every single time. In order to submit an entry to the contests or whatever, the letters, you have to have an image. I don't know why the website does that. It's probably how they have it set up. I haven't really done a deep dive or asked Lauren enough questions about everything, but in due time. This is a superimposed image that I took at a festival one time. And as soon as I had submitted the story, after grammar checking it and spell checking it and everything, as soon as I had put it into the system and it was like, submit your photo, I locked up. I froze up and I was like, I now need to submit a photo. Frick. What do I do? What photo? I didn't prepare for this. Oh no. And then it clicked immediately in my brain as soon as I stopped asking questions and stopped thinking like that. I was like, as soon as I stopped all those thoughts, it clicked in my brain. I was like, oh, I know. And then boom. And then I went to another app after editing the hell out of the lighting on this photo so that no one would be recognizable, because that is bad. But yeah, I edited the light ever living heck out of the lighting on this photo so that no one would be recognizable. And then I went to another app of mine that I have on my phone for photo editing and stuff, and I chose a font and a color that looked kind of good. And it was hilarious to me because I was editing it. I showed it to a friend of mine, and they were like, wait a second. Isn't that the colors, the school colors of your elementary school? And I'm like, you know what? It kind of is. My elementary school's colors were or blue and gold. And that was actually the place that a lot of stuff happened. Hopefully I can get into that in a entertainment type way very soon. But let's just say that elementary school was a pivotal point in my life for a lot of different reasons, and those colors kind of actually mean something imprintedly in my brain. And it's funny that the font I chose has some sort of, I guess, color tie to monumental moment in my life. Now, enough of me blabbering. Actually, one more point. The last time we left off on, but angry we are, divided we are, hateful we are. That was the last major line in the letter I wrote. And I didn't think I was going to leave it as is. I thought I was gonna just use it as the bones, the foundation for the idea I was producing, and it was gonna be edited and it was gonna look different. And it looks different, but there's just an ending now. It didn't change much. And it does something to me when I read this out loud a few times, more than any of my other pieces have done. And I'm actually kind of scared right now to read it out loud, technically in front of a live audience, or not really a live audience, but an audience. Dear humans of the world and the digital quill, you are the dream that scares me. And I don't mean that I'm fearful of you. In part, I am, yes. But that fear is overridden by the sheer disposition of joy and love. You see, I died a long time ago. In many ways. I don't mean I am dead and gone. No. It's much different than that. I'm getting ahead of myself. My personal dreams are easy. Be a writer, be an author, be me. I don't even care about making money anymore. I'm disenchanted with it, even if it helps people. I've been broke all 27 years and my actions have helped more than my nickels and dimes. I care about you. I grew up in hell, was conceived in hell. My biological mother was on drugs for 7 months of her pregnancy with me. I never met her. I have siblings I'll never meet. My biological father violated me for years in my sleep. My dad was diagnosed with cancer, and the mother who was raising me and cared for me felt like she was possessed in doing so and hated me for it. A fact that became increasingly more apparent. My dream is you. All of you. I have met monsters, and I have seen glimpses of the people before them. I have walked with monsters and have known the people before them. I have fought the monster within and have barely conquered. My dream is all of you. Your stories, your lessons, your dreams and passions. I want better for all. I want love for all, even those who did me dirty. So many have been through so much, and I am so sorry. I hope you keep fighting the monsters inside. Dear humans of the world, you are the dream that scares me. You scare me because I see you want what I want. Love, peace, calm, create, connect, coexist. Yet divided we are, hateful we are, angry we are. We live in a world not designed for us. We all have stories. People of Earth, you are my dream, my biggest hope, and it's quite scary. I want better for you. What that better looks like is for you to decide. I just want to help. I don't know why we can't all just get along, why we share this planet. I dreamed that once. I woke myself up pushing something away from me, saying, why can't we all just get along? You are my dream, dear human. Dear people of the world, the universe I share, I'm scared of speaking my voice, but I'll do so anyway. You scare me, but I know my idea is good. I know because I was hateful and bitter for a spell too, judgmental and cruel. Why me? I used to think, well, why not me? What can I do to channel this for the better? So the story changed. Now I only want to walk with light and love I needed while being brought up in fire and ash. Let's do this together. Let's talk to one another. Dear you, I love you. No matter what you've done or who you are, I love you. That was a reading out loud of Dear Humans in the World and the Digital Quill. A contest entry to the Unsealed community for a dream that scares me. Or I guess rather to write a dream, or write a letter to a dream that scares me. After I had finished that piece, and I actually finished it yesterday afternoon. I am scared. More so now than ever. In ways that I didn't really think I would have to wake up and face one day. I have never in my life seen so much anger. And I understand where it's coming from. I can see. I have eyeballs. I can't tell you guys what to do with your own lives. That would go against everything I believe in. Autonomy, free will, freedom, which are all three separate things and similar in ways. But I beg and I plead that we learn how to talk to each other on levels where we're not pulling guns on each other, screaming and bullying each other, tearing each other to absolute fucking shreds. Millions of people yesterday or the day before saw a lot of stuff that none of us have ever seen before. That's fucking insane. That's insane. And with those events and everything I've seen and read online, I am compelled more than ever to try to have conversations on a human-to-human level. My dream terrifies me. Building this community terrifies me because now there's new fears. There is an unsettling feeling now amongst people who speak at all on anything, whether it's left-leaning, right-leaning, center-leaning, or whatever. I'm not even just talking political anymore. I am just talking in general. Happy to announce that my book is a lot closer to being done than I thought it was. I am happy to announce that I am now able to say that I am still on track for it to be complete and released when I said it would be. I wanted today's episode to be happy, not heavy. Whoops. My bad. My bad. That piece, as I said, does something to me, though. I am afraid. I'm afraid for everybody. Afraid for everybody. That hasn't exactly been a new thing. But I saw videos. So that fear is now tied to a video. And yeah. I am no stranger to PTSD or CPTSD. Holy crap. If you haven't seen it, do not see it. And if you know someone who has seen it, check in on them. And if you know someone who was at the event, check in on them. If you know someone who was at the school or on that bus, check in on them and maybe ask why they didn't step in and help, because the fact that nobody stepped in and helped on that one is beyond me, but hey, whatever. Sorry, I am rereading in my brain the events from the bus. I can't remember how to pronounce the young girl's name. I am bad with pronunciations as it is. I would definitely butcher that, and I don't want to do that since she has passed, but I see her name and I can see her face. I just can't pronounce that. I wish I was better at pronouncing names. That's something I'm gonna have to work on, but like actually meeting people, and there's a certain way that you can strengthen your ability to recognize names and faces and be able to put the two together for like not even only pronunciation's sake but like memory's sake. And I had to do a lot of reading and research on this. I'm usually trying to do stuff like that, but when you meet someone for the first time, you want to say their name back to them. Say, "Hi, it's nice to meet you." Say their name. So like when you're shaking their hand, "It's nice to meet you." Hi, I'm Bob. "Hi, Bob, it's nice to meet you." Like that's kind of like what you do. The eye contact thing is also important, even if that is hard to do sometimes, because that helps register in your brain the connection part. There's some sciencey stuff that happens there, and I don't have the fortitude right now to talk about it. But yeah, despite life and the internet and other things, I am on track to finish 21 Days Gone. And I'm gonna be really honest, I know me enough, and there was a moment in time for a while there, a long stretch of time, where I was like, I'm not going to finish this in time. I'm going to have to delay it once more. Oh my god, I hate myself. This is shitty of me. How dare me? How dare I come up with stupid, arbitrary rules and deadlines and that. But just stupid, petty fears. I know in the back of my mind, despite at the forefront, I was afraid and anxious and half convinced that I was going to pull the lazy Mars thing and just not pull through. But the problem is I care too much about this thing. The message that I want to talk about with this thing, I care too much about. It is truth turned fiction almost on every single page at this point. And it has been enlightening in a lot of ways. Because not only do I want to have hard conversations with this book, but there's still some baggage I need to unpack from my years of trauma and abuse. And I think it is a silly statement to think that you are never going to have to stop working on things. Does it suck? Yeah, it does. But you know what doesn't suck is being able to work on things with other people in your life. And that's why, separate issue, I don't really like ending friendships. It's why I don't believe in enemies per se. But I do, and we're going to get to that here in a minute. Now, since I still have a rather small audience, and not many of you care about this book as much as I do, if at all, I'm going to read you something. It is a sneak peek. And actually, this is kind of gruesome in a way. One year I bought a bottle of fake blood, and I keep that around for creative projects and photo shoots, because photographer and art things, don't worry about it. Anyway, this notebook I decided to start using as my field notes for 21 Days Gone. And I used some fake blood one time in not only a photo shoot, but also a physical. I won't show it because some platforms have an issue with even fake blood. Although it's on paper and it isn't a cut. So, like, would it be considered paint then? We'll know what it is, but the platforms will not. You're probably looking at that like, what? What am I looking at, Mars? What is that? And why is your main character's name right next to it? I was trying to do an impression of sorts. I wanted to see if, like, I could, like, visualize a part in the book that matters to the story. Because I didn't really want to look up online gruesome details of what it looks like when a tattoo is removed from someone's skin via essentially branding. Being a writer, a fiction writer, a crime fiction writer, or even a thriller fiction writer, I'm interested to see some of your guys' search histories, because I know what mine looks like, and I'm probably on some list somewhere. And I swear, if I'm ever if I ever am convicted of a crime, and my search history comes up, I swear it's all for books. I promise. I'm not out here committing crimes, okay? I mean, unless you count texting and driving. No, I'm kidding. I don't do that because I don't drive, so. I do text while other people are driving. Is that just as bad? But yeah. So, before we get into the actual part I want to talk about, because I haven't really gotten a chance to talk about that, the blood impression, but I was trying to visualize what it would look like if a tattoo was removed from branding, essentially, and it didn't help, but it was fun. So, I'll call that a win. We will call that a win. Also, it did kind of come out kind of cool looking. So, it came out kind of cool looking. What you're also seeing there isn't just, as I said, I tried to do an impression. I knew logically it wasn't going to work, but I wanted to, like, still see, so I tried it anyway. I knew objectively and logically, like, scientifically, this isn't going to work. I'm not going to be able to imprint the tattoo onto the page with fake blood that looks like paint. But it is going to look cool, so I did it anyway. And I was right. It did kind of look cool, in a way. I put the fake blood on the shoulder here. And I pressed the notebook to it. And I'm like, let's see what happens. Let's see what kind of imagery or creative inspiration I could get from this. And definitely, I did this a while ago. I want to say back in June, maybe before that. The photos, I have a timestamp for that, because I also did images, because I wanted to see if I could, like, edit it enough to, like, give it some... I went through a whole process trying to avoid researching. I ended up having to research anyway, and I'm so glad I tried the process first, though. It was way more fun than research. Let's see. Yes. I am slowly coming up with book cover ideas, because I'm actually in the stage where I can do that. Still coming up with the synopsis and a lot of other things. The way I have a process for how writing works is completely different for everybody, for one, because everyone has different lifestyles and everything. So I couldn't just copy and paste someone else's lifestyle and writing habits onto my own to finish this novel. I had to work with what I've got. I've had quite an education. My second book that I write, if I get a chance to write a second book, will go a lot smoother. and probably be out a lot sooner. And actually, I have some ideas about that. I used to write everything from starts of novels and starts of series to short stories, poems, lyrics growing up. And slowly I stopped writing anything, kind of, sort of. Now that I'm kind of getting back into writing, I have been for years, writing again. After I write this novel, this is another super secret exclusive info to my really small audience, but I appreciate you guys, by the way. When I say really small, I mean that with love. I don't mean that I'm upset, because I don't even really have blood relatives who care about what I'm doing at all. They want me dead. So or at least not dead, but want me a lot further than I am now, that's for sure. Still can't believe you had the audacity to comment on Dad's anniversary 8 months after I made that post. Weird. If you know, you know. I have several friends who know, and they're probably gonna nod to that statement and be like, oh yeah, yep, I remember that. Thank you for being here, and thank you for hearing me rant out loud about my various brain thoughts, because keeping them in my brain sometimes is not fun. I have a lot of brain thoughts. Weekly or monthly therapy doesn't do it. It's why I was encouraged growing up to write a lot, and to always write if that was the best way I could speak. Which, on to the next super secret exclusive 21 Days Gone news. This is like the synopsis, on the back of books that used to be on the back of most books. They would have a little, here's what's happening in the book. Are you interested in reading it yet? And then there is the real life synopsis. Synopsis? Sure. Nicole is now an adult on her way to independence when something changes her entire life course. When she was 18, she got her first tattoo, but the story won't stop there. That winter, her dad passed away. That spring, she turned 18. Unsettled by the loss, she moves in with her cousin, who she becomes fast friends with. Together, Alex and Nicole get through their early 20s, and at 24, Nicole is finally ready to move in her first apartment. Before Nicole could bring the last box, her world goes black. What happened to Nicole? Will Alex be able to find her? Sometimes, when life becomes intense, powerful forces take over. How far will someone go? It has been several rewrites of almost everything, from the beginning of the story to the synopsis to the middle of the story to the end to details of how I wanted to portray the various true things that happened into a fictionalized format. Because, mind you, while writing the story, and you will see when you read the book, I am taking everything that has ever happened to me, and I am putting it into fiction format. This is my last hoorah when it comes to that chapter in my life. That chapter that will not only be bled into other chapters because it existed in the book of Mars Wilson's life, but the chapter that also needs to come to a close because all the details have finally come to the surface. All the ones that are important enough to mean anything, to take lessons away from and grow from. I am not ready for this next part. This is actually part of me being afraid to voice my voice. But on we trek. In prior episodes of the Digital Quill podcast, I have talked about 21 Days Gone, my debut novel, and what it means to me, why I'm writing it, what it's about, and what it's going to become, and what the conversations are that I want to have around it. As I read to you out loud in my Dear Humans of the Earth and the Digital Quill letter to the Unsealed, and also to everyone else, I have been through some pretty scary stuff. Stuff that is a pretty common and unfortunately uncommon, or not unfortunately uncommon, an unfortunately common occurrence. Growing up, I didn't want anyone to have suffered what I suffered through. At 6 years old, I knew what happened to me. I knew the words, I knew what it meant, I knew the implications behind it. I understood more at 6, at 5.5, than any 5.5 or 6-year-old should ever understand. That story is true for a lot of people. I don't want that to be a thing that continues. Growing up, when my mother figure and I were talking to people about the story and what had happened to us, people would say, "Oh my God, you should write a book." And these were her words that I'm reiterating, by the way, not mine. Her words and their words, because I'm just a child observing, seen and not heard, really. And heard enough. But people would say, "You should write a book." And my mom and I would laugh, and she would say that, "Yeah, sure, we could write the book, but it would be put in fiction because nobody would believe us." No one would have believed us, but it's deeper than that, too. No one would be able to believe I could forgive him, but I did. Not the monster he became, not the actions either, but the person behind and before all those. I hope to keep the toll of people like him as one. He cannot be a part of my life instinctually because I would have to him. That line of people who would do it out of anger, I'd have to do it out of survival, as he and anyone associated with he or actions like his are a danger and enemy to me. I do not sleep or work with enemies. That is to say that thus this book will be written, and thus humanity versus corruption will be endlessly discussed. Before man, as in human, becomes monsters, we can change. The human condition is a powerful example of a species' resistance to non-existence. We live in an age beyond just dreams. We have new ideas and technology. We need to fix our social hierarchy, amongst other things, and I'm using these terms loosely, before this can continue, for in the end, we essentially speak our doom. Keep going, but in the direction of a better, more aware and connected society. Learn, be curious, and share those thoughts. Maybe we can have an age of creation instead of an age of destruction. This is a powerful statement that I wrote to myself as a note when writing this book, because it took me a long time growing up, through a lot of therapy, to work through everything that had happened to me. I've stated it in so many other episodes. Throughout this show, there are so many instances where I do not want what happened to me to happen to other people, and I do not want the actions that were chosen that happened to me to be chosen by other people. And what I mean by that is, we all have the ability to choose better. We all have the ability to remain within our humanity before becoming and subjecting ourselves to the monster within. We all have it. We all have some form of evil within inside of us. We don't need to listen to it. We don't need to listen to the hatred and the darkness and the evil and the greed and the selfishness. Those have places, sure, yin and yang, of course. Without those, you wouldn't know what love really is, but the point stands. Just choose. Choose better for yourself, at least. If you don't choose better for other people, choose better for yourself. It's hard for me sometimes to even understand how I could forgive someone who changed my world in such a way. There's a lot of nuance there, and I can't really explain it to you in a way without you having lived through an experience like that yourself. And I pray you never do. I not only pray that you never do, I beg and plead to every God, creation, universe, entity, and voice that has ever been heard and ever will be heard. And I think that's a pretty good note to leave on this episode, because it is, I don't know, what time is it? Ooh, damn. Yeah, it's a good time to leave. I need to go do stuff. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Digital Quill Podcast with your host, Mars Wilson. I'm sorry today was an intense episode. I did not mean it to be that intense. I really did mean it to be lighthearted, and I actually had a note here to talk about Dreamlight Valley and Just Dance and the live stream stuff and other stuff, but I have no more time, and I killed the mood. Sorry. So, yeah, sorry. Sorry. Keep going, humans of Earth. Don't stop, because I certainly am not going to. I have almost let the darkness and death take me. I truly do believe in humanity and everything that I stand for when it comes to this stuff. So, keep going. Don't stop. And I will see you next time. Remember, if you want to be a guest on this episode, get in touch with me in the description below. Do all the internet things, or don't. It's okay. Be safe, drink water, and again, keep going. Thank you for letting me give you my time, and vice versa. See you for episode 67. Wow. Bye.